Little Miss Recap contains adult language and is intended for entertainment purposes only. Amanda.
Amy.
I could not sleep last night after watching this.
Don Draper is so
Why is Don Draper so hot and so broken all at the same time?
He is so hot because he is so broken.
Guys, my name's Amy Archer. I'm here with my sidekick, Amanda. We're talking today about another gratitude episode where we are grateful for you. And we are grateful that we both have a shared love for Mad Men. One of the best written shows I've ever seen in my life.
One of the best shows of all time. Hands down. It's in my top 5 all the time.
When I was watching this episode, we're doing season, 4, episode 7?
Season 4, episode 7, which is
Suitcase.
apparently exactly the midpoint of the entire series.
Okay.
It is the middle episode.
When I was watching, so I watched 6 and 7. When I finished, I said to Timmy, this is beautiful. This is absolutely, like, the writing is flawless. And I said to him, do we remember it being this good? And
I do.
Like, and he goes to me, every single episode we finished, you used to talk about the writing.
So yes, apparently you do remember it being this good.
Matthew Weiner, what do you do? Where are you?
I know. He's so good. And do you remember the creepy kid that was Sally's friend and then was in love with Betty?
Yes.
That little kid. That's his son.
Okay. All right.
So that was a Nepo hire because he was not a great actor.
No.
Yeah, it was Matthew Weiner's son. It's
not Weiner, it's Weiner.
No, it's Weiner, yeah.
Oh,
it
I'm
is.
gonna call him Weiner.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's such a beautiful show. You would think so. Waldorf Stories is the episode 6 of this season,
Yeah,
and you think that's where Don's finally hitting his bottom.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah.
Yep. We have further to go. And then the next one is Summer Man, which is where he's like, I'm going to try some clean living. It doesn't go long.
Isn't that when he goes to California?
No, Summer Man is the one where he like swims the whole time, I think.
Okay. All right. Timmy's favorite part of Mad Men is when, and it's like just this weird little thing, but it's the attention to detail.
Yeah.
It's when he and Betty go on the picnic in season 1.
And they just leave the trash.
He shakes the blanket off into the woods, all the trash, and then they leave.
Yeah. As I was taking notes for this, is you always knew this is such a time and place piece. And this is where I think this is actually an interesting conversation to have, because I think that there's a challenge of being able to look back at times of the world, history of the world, or TV shows of a certain period, and try to like put our current 2024 lens on it. Like, there are so many racial slurs in this.
Oh, yeah.
Some of which I chose to pick up on because they were important to the story. Some of which I was like, we're just going to jump right over that.
Yeah.
But it was how they talked. I don't know if you remember one of my favorite episodes. It's Old Kentucky Home. It's where Roger and Jane throw the Derby Day party.
I don't remember a lot of it, Amanda. I'm blaming this one on Young Twins.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
It's the one where Roger gets in blackface and sings Old Kentucky Home.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and now actually if you watch like it on a streaming service, there's a black screen of death ahead of time that's like, this may be uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
But that's how people behaved in 1962 or 1963. It wasn't weird.
No.
At all.
No.
It's real weird to us. Not. Did you watch this show from the start, or how did you get into it?
All right. So I don't know how I got into the show. I don't remember. I have a vague memory of Timmy and I, like I told you last night, it's one of the first shows we ever binged together. So we started dating in 2005.
Okay.
And the first show we watched together was 6 Feet Under, because I had watched it when it was on and he had never seen it. So I, of course, made him watch it because it's required viewing.
Of course.
And then we started watching Mad Men, but I don't think we watched it when it was on. I think we watched it like, what did it come on, 2010?
This episode, season 4 is 2010. So I think it started like 2006.
Okay, yeah. So Young Twins, there we go.
Yeah, Young Twins.
So I want to say we started it a couple years late, like we always did. We came to Breaking Bad in the same way. And we used to get the DVDs from Blockbuster.
Okay.
And then Blockbuster started doing the by mail to compete with Netflix.
Right.
And we started getting the DVDs that way.
Nice.
I always loved this show.
Me too.
I mean, it's amazing.
I was a bit of a latecomer in that the show was on when I started watching it, but I had a couple seasons to catch up on. My mom was super into Mad Men from the start.
Oh,
And
yeah,
she
I
was
can see
like,
your mother liking it.
yeah, she was like, you have to watch this. This is exactly what it was like working in an office. Everything is like the detail. Because my mom started working in 1962, 1963. She was 20 years old in 1963.
Yeah.
She was a secretary at an insurance firm.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
It was not in Manhattan. It was in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, ironically. But like, that was her experience. And she's like, yeah, I had my boss's favorite liquor in my drawer at all times. And we smoked at our desk and we put the little cover on our typewriter, and men commented constantly on what we were wearing and how we were dressing. And I'm like,
still do in many areas. I just
still do in many areas.
But
yeah, she was just like, this is such a perfect representation.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like most about the show is just how it is completely set in the time and place and doesn't really fall to anachronisms at all.
Do you know my mother, one of the biggest history buffs I know, has never watched an episode of this?
Oh, I think your mom would really like
She
this.
would love it.
Yeah.
She would not. My mother does not have my garbage taste. She probably would not fall for Don Draper.
Okay, well, I don't know. My mom doesn't have nearly the garbage taste that I do, and she's in love with Don Draper.
No, my mother would call me very similarly to how she said, why don't food addicts just get addicted to salad?
Oh, yes.
She would call me and say, I don't understand why women like a man who has so many problems. That's what she would say to me.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because we can fix them. That's why.
I'm like, oh,
women need
Mom.
a project. We can fix them. Which is some good love.
Welcome to my brain.
Which is some good love.
I lucked out with Timmy. Let's put it that way.
He needs some fixing, but minimal fixing.
Minimal. Yep.
Minimal.
All right.
Let's just get into it. This is so long.
And I would like to say too, like, this is one of the top rated episodes this is like the seminal episode of Mad Men. Everybody talks about this one.
Yeah. So I did a bit of like Googling of like top episodes of Mad Men. What do people say? This hits almost everyone. If they actually rank the list, this is almost everyone's top 10, not number one, but it hits every top 10 list on the show.
And I'm also floating right now, right here, the idea that Amanda and I cover a season of this.
And I support this.
Because holy moly, would that spark joy? And we know that the bar for the barrier for entry here is, does it spark joy?
It does. We are our best when it sparks joy.
Yes.
And this sparks joy. So let's go. So we are, as I said, The Suitcase, season 4, episode 7, original air date September 5th, 2010.
Coming up on my birthday.
Coming up on your birthday. It was a gift for you for your birthday. Directed by Jennifer Getzinger, written by Matthew Weiner. Matthew Weiner wrote most of Mad Men, but not all. There's a lot of episodes that are written by other people, but Matthew Weiner writes the best ones.
That Matthew Wiener, he is fucking talented.
He knows a story.
He can weave a narrative.
Need Braden.
Jesus.
He does not need Braden.
He does not need Braden, the storyboard editor over at Sister Wives.
No, he does not. He's got it down.
We need Matthew Weiner to go over to Puddle Monkey
and help them out. I mean, they've got a toxic man. We can do something with this. So if you've all never watched Mad Men, a lot of Mad Men just kind of drops right in. Like, you don't quite know what's going on. It just drops right into the beginning of the story. And this is what it does as well. So we have Harry Crane, and he's giving away tickets for tonight's fight, which is Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston. For those of you playing at home who are unfamiliar, Cassius Clay is someone you probably know a little bit better as Muhammad Ali. That was his original name. So, and this was a historic fight because in the first one, Liston beat Ali.
Yes.
And this one, Ali wins, a knockout.
Very quickly.
So they're free tickets, and Harry is giving some of them away and then charging other people for them, which is a very Harry Crane move.
Because Harry Crane is like in with the television networks. Like, that's his position at the ad agency.
Correct.
So he gets all these freebies from the television execs. And
he lords them over everybody at any time.
Yes.
Harry is a supreme nerd, incredibly insecure, which is why he puts on this huge air all the time. And he's just shitty. I always really liked Harry.
I like him too.
But the thing is, he's toxic, but he's not hot toxic like Don. No. He's just toxic.
Roger is my second favorite behind Don.
There's a lack of Roger in this episode, which is probably the only problem with this episode.
There's a lot of Roger in the Waldorf beforehand.
Yes.
And one of my favorite lines is he's drinking a bunch of martinis and Don goes, "Can I buy you lunch?" And Roger goes, "I just had a jar of olives."
Like, I don't need food. I just ate all the olives. These two are such drunks. It's bad. But
it's bad.
So Danny Siegel, who is the nephew, so I'll give a little bit of who these people are so to understand. Danny Siegel is the nephew of the firm's founder's wife, Jane Sterling. So the firm was originally Sterling Cooper, which was Roger Sterling, actually Roger's father, and Bert Cooper. Then we wind up getting Draper in it and Lane Price. That's a whole thing. But Danny is a little shit who doesn't really belong here, but he's here because he's Jane's cousin. And he's here because Don drunkenly stole an idea from him in the previous episode, so they had to hire him.
Yep.
So Don makes a lot of mistakes when drunk.
And Don is drunk a lot.
He's drunk a lot.
In the middle of the workday.
He is drunk a lot. And you know what's interesting is John Hamm is sober.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's hot. John Hamm is sober. John Hamm is also a recovering smoker. So they had fake cigarettes all the time for him.
Oh, good.
Okay. But still, the amount he had to pretend to smoke and being a former smoker is impressive. He didn't fall right back into it.
Yeah.
So Harry then makes a racial slur about Danny being Jewish, which is lovely. Danny pipes back, do your friends in Hollywood know you talk like that?
Right.
No, they don't.
Nope.
Now we're betting. They all say Liston is favored, and Clay had an elevated heart rate before the last fight. So clearly he's going to lose because he's scared. And Don walks in. Harry says he has his ticket, hands it to him. Joey, who's this piece of shit creative guy who like works under Peggy. He's such an asshole all the time.
Is he the one that she got naked with in the Waldorf?
No, that's Stan.
That's Stan. Okay.
That's Stan. And at this point, we're not sure how we feel about Stan. We eventually come to really love Stan.
I like Stan.
I like Stan too. And so I don't want to ruin the whole show for people. So I'm going to try not to. But
that's fine.
So Don puts down $100 on Liston, which I looked up is about $1,000 today, which he just pulls right out of his wallet.
Don has a lot of fucking money.
Don has a lot of fucking money and has no problem spending it. So they also asked Don if he'll join them for the fight for stakes at the Palm. And he's like, yes. So then he goes, Samsonite team in my office. So now we know we're working on this pitch. And that's a lot of what the show does is there'll be a pitch that they're all trying to figure out as they're going through. People jump up following. Harry says, if it comes up with his wife, Jennifer, tell her I paid for the tickets. So Harry has cheated on Jennifer left, right, and center throughout their marriage. And he's trying to get away with something. You don't really know what he's trying to get away with here, but it's always don't tell Jennifer what's actually going on here.
Right.
Everything. Never tell Jennifer. So Don goes in the office, says to his very old secretary, Mrs. Blankenship, to make him a dinner reservation anywhere but the Palm. Because he's not going with them.
No.
Mrs. Blankenship is his secretary because his last secretary, Allison, wound up banging Don after a Christmas party and it got real messy.
And Joan knew that he could not
have a hot secretary again. He does wind up having a hot secretary again because Mrs. Blankenship meets an untimely end at her own desk. But Joan, and we don't have enough Joan in this episode either because she's one of my favorites too.
I know.
So I'm just like, God, the racism in this is so bad. Mrs. Blankenship says that she has no interest in the fight with another racial slur. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're just saying
it's real bad.
It's real bad. So Peggy comes in and says, I thought we were doing this at 9, but it's 11:15. So Don is habitually late because he's hungover or he's still drunk somewhere.
Don is he's going through it.
Don is on the downward slide, about to hit bottom. And he says he's late, but you aren't, and has them walk him through the commercial that they've written for Samsonite. He sits behind his desk and, has a little roll and takes a drink out of a glass and makes a face. So what that says to me is that there was booze left over in there that he was hiding because it wasn't in one of his booze glasses. And he was like, ugh. And so things to know about Don Draper at this point. He's dating a psychologist named Dr. Faye because they reference her in a moment. Dr. Faye is a hired person at the firm to do research for them. He has 3 kids from his first marriage with Betty Draper, who is, again, one of my favorite characters of all time, and she's terrible.
What's her name? January Jones?
January Jones.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's fantastic, and her clothes are just so beautiful all the time. She's beautiful all the time. Yeah. So he's got 3 kids from his first marriage. He's divorced, and he has with whom he has a questionable relationship with each of his kids.
Oh, yeah.
His youngest was born after they had kind of split up, so he wasn't really ever in his youngest life. And he's a raging alcoholic, and things aren't going well for him. So we've got Stan, Danny, Joey, and Peggy. Peggy's the one we really care about here. They walk through the commercial, which will include Joe Namath and 2 different suitcases fighting each other.
Joe Namath.
A new up-and-comer Joe Namath. I love when they have those Easter eggs in there of like this. Don immediately is like, endorsements are lazy, and no one knows who Joe Namath is, and he hasn't even played a professional game yet. And Peggy's like, but he's handsome.
Yeah,
he was. And Don counters that women don't buy suitcases. And Peggy says, well, Dr. Faye says they do. Peggy uses a lot of Dr. Faye's ammunition against Don because she doesn't feel she can stand up to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Don asks everyone to leave but Peggy. And so we're like, oh, fuck.
Once we get through like what happened, I think you and I need to have a long conversation about Don and Peggy.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So I have watched this series start to finish multiple times. And
I only did it once.
The last time I watched it specifically with the idea that this isn't Don's story, this is Peggy's story.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch it through that lens, it's very interesting.
Mm.
And it can be argued, I think it's either of their stories.
Okay.
So Don says he's glad that this is an environment where she feels free to fail.
Yeah, he reads her for filth. And as a creative person, this would be real hard.
This would be devastating.
Yeah.
Constantly hearing this from him.
Did you ever work for a boss like this, though? I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I worked for a boss who was real fucking tough on me for like no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's real much an asshole. And it's like, why? I feel like you're an asshole just to be an asshole.
Yes.
And she says that it was his idea. He says, yeah, the link between Samsonite being strong is good. The execution's terrible. And she's like, should it be funny? He's like, actually funny? Maybe. Funny like what I just saw? No. So she stares and walks out, goes out of his office. And she goes into her own office where there's carnations and a box with a bow on it. So we realize it's her birthday. The phone rings and it's Duck. And he remembered her birthday. So Duck is an account man who Sterling Cooper had hired. And when they hired him, he was sober.
Yeah. And he was great. He came with like a lot of contacts.
He came with a lot of contacts, but he never really was able to deliver on what he came with.
Yep.
He also orchestrated the purchase of the firm by the British people, which is why he winds up getting kicked out because then they buy back the firm from the Brits because they don't want to be sold off to McCann. Mm-hmm. Everything is always about not wanting to go to McCann, who was the biggest advertising firm on Madison Avenue. And McCann is a real firm.
When I worked in advertising, McCann Erickson was the firm.
They're a real firm.
Yep.
So, and at some point, Peggy and Duck wind up banging after the firm thing happens. Yeah. And actually, the episode where Kennedy is shot, she and Duck are in bed together. Yeah. So she opens the box of cards and it says Phillips Olson, Peggy Olson, creative director. And she's like, what? Huh? And Duck says he's finally doing what he should all these years. He wants to form an agency focused on women's products. And
which isn't a bad idea.
It is not a bad idea, particularly then, because a lot of firms were afraid to even touch women's products, period.
Yeah, like if he had done this, he probably would have been very successful.
Right, except he just couldn't keep his shit together for 24 hours.
Nope.
No. And so he wants women's products, her as the creative director, and probably somebody else too. Because I think he realizes he's enough of a fuck up, he can't do this on his own. And he's having high-level talks with the people from Tampax. And he's like, Peggy, Tampax. Which was huge. I mean, they were the only.
Well, and he's like, we're having talks, but like they're on the down low. You're not having talks.
You're not having talks. And he's like, someone from Beljolie, which he makes a homophobic slur in that.
Of course.
And some folks from Europe, just Europe. And he's like, the train is leaving the station. Woo, woo. And he's trashed. He's already trashed.
And she can hear the glass clinking.
Like clinking, yeah. And which is how we figure out Duck, the recovering alcoholic, is drunk. Peggy asks where he's calling from, and he says his home office. And she's like, oh, you already left Gray? Which was another big advertising firm. And he says, I wasn't wasting time with them anymore, but believe me, it was mutual. So he got fired. And she says, if he got fired, and she says he won't lie, he was inspired by what Draper did, because Draper got rid of, made his own firm with Sterling Cooper.
Yep.
And Duck hates Don Draper and is so jealous of him in every way, shape, and form. And he just needs some accounts, and it's tough to get a line of credit, and like he's starting to lose it. She asks, what do you have so far? And he's like, it isn't a diamond necklace, but I did spend some money on those cards. Like,
yeah,
not good. She appreciates the gesture, but she isn't sure if she should take it this seriously. And she's like, I think you might have been drinking. And he's like, well, you're wrong. As the glass clinks onto the table because he's so drunk he can't even put it down softly. And she says, I heard about the Clios. So that's what happened at the episode before, Waldorf Stories that we mentioned. The Clios are the advertising award ceremony every year. The MC, did you notice who there was at the Clios?
Yeah,
I think it was at this Clios.
Forget who, though.
Because we see the Clios twice. Is it this one where it's Jennifer Aniston's father? the guy from
Yes.
the soap operas.
Yep.
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Aniston. Yeah.
John Aniston.
Yep.
I was like,
Victor Kiriakis.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, ooh, Amy will pick up the soap opera thing
I
there.
forgot, but I did. And at that ceremony, Duck gets up and starts drunkenly screaming, and they have to take him out
harassing everybody, and he gets thrown out. And the big thing, the Cleos are a very sensitive thing for Peggy, because Sterling Cooper won an award for an ad that she wrote, and Don never thanked her for it. And he's parading it around like it is his own ad, which is what Don does to her all the time. And he's like, I need to see you. I need to see you. And he's like, I can't. I have plans. I'm going out with Mark. And Peggy gives Duck this little pet talk, like, go find a headhunter, sober up.
Yeah, like, you'll be fine. You have enough contacts. You're a white man in Manhattan. You'll be fine.
Right. And it's 1965. We're fine. We're fine. It's May of 65.
Hey everyone, stay tuned. Little Miss Recap will be right back after these words. Amanda.
Amy.
For our sponsor, Lumi Gummies today, I have an idea. I think we should do a rapid fire bonus round. Which 90-day celebrity stars need a Lumi Gummy or have taken a Lumi Gummy maybe?
Okay. Madeline.
Oh, I have her on my list too. Manon. Manon could really use indica.
Yeah, to calm her the fuck down.
Calm down a little bit.
I think Jenny could use a sativa to maybe up the energy a little bit, because there's none there.
Funny you mentioned Jenny. I have Sumit's aunt can use one
definitely
to chill out a little bit.
She definitely could use one. This is a wild card. Florian could use one. I don't know what variety.
Yeah,
but
maybe
I feel
he needs a hybrid.
I feel like Florian on a gummy would be good.
Yeah. I also have Dylan's mom from Dylan and Patia.
Yeah.
And I have Luke's dad of Luke and Madeline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can use Lumi Gummies as well.
Yes.
Yes.
All the time.
Consistent, mellow, and super delicious, Lumi Gummies are specifically designed to make you feel good, not stoned. Whether you're looking for an end-of-the-day de-stressor, a midday mood boost, or help getting the best sleep ever, Lumi Gummies has a strain that's right for you. So, Amanda, our flavor that we like a lot in this home is the sour strawberry cookie hybrid.
Ooh, is it particularly sour?
It's not super sour because I don't like sour things.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I just find that it's the perfect blend of up and down. It's right in the middle.
Nice.
But you feel good. I really like it.
I'm a hybrid girly myself, and I'm going to go with the watermelon sorbet because I do enjoy watermelon, and it's just a nice, cool, chill evening of watching TV.
You know what I need to do? I need to take one before Sister Wives comes out. Before I meet my arch nemesis in the ring.
Yes. I think it would help you a great deal. I think it would help Cody Brown a great deal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Guys, Lumi Gummies are available nationwide. Go to lumigummies.com. That's LUMI gummies.com. Use code Little Miss Recap for 30% off your order. That is Lumi Gummies, LUMI gummies.com. Code Little Miss Recap. Lumis.com. Code Little Miss Recap. It's 30%. And the link is in the show notes if you guys need it.
So he says he needs her, and she was the last thing that made him feel good about himself. There's a knock on the door. She says she can't talk, hangs up the phone, and then Duck proceeds to spill the drink on himself. So that's where we leave Duck at that point. Stan, Joey, Danny come in. Stan says they're going to lunch, and Peggy says, oh, I don't know if you could tell, but he hated it. Stan's like, well, I hated it too while we were doing it. But it was okay beforehand, but we still have to eat. And they say it's her birthday. They'll even let her talk through lunch. Yeah. You guys are such an asshole to her. Yeah. And by the way, she's all of their boss. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Don comes back in from the bathroom, and there's a message from Stephanie from California, and it is urgent. And does she want, Mrs. Blanket Chip says, do you want me to place the call? And he says, no, I've got it. And he looks at the phone, and there's a photo of him on the desk with a blonde woman and him. And he hangs up the phone, puts the message away. So
can I do this real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I had to look this up last night.
I was going to explain. Go ahead. You explain.
Just real quick, guys. We're not going to spoil a lot, but just so you know, Don, because of his time in the war, there was some switch in identities going on, and his sergeant in the war was Don Draper, and he died.
And he was Dick Whitman.
And he took Don Draper's identity. And then he gets involved with Don Draper's real family. And it's a whole, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a whole thing. This is that family.
This is the woman that was married to Don Draper. This is Anna Draper. And Anna Draper is one of the few people on the planet that Don can really be who he is with.
Yes.
And she knows who he is. She knows that he's
and
lying about his identity.
Nobody else knows that he is Dick Whitman.
Very few people do.
Yeah.
And actually, I read an article like, who all knows?
Does Roger know?
Roger does not know.
Okay.
Bert does know, though. Bert Cooper knows. At this point, Peggy knows. No, seriously, at this point,
Betty?
Betty knows. I almost said Betsy. Betty knows. Bert knows. Pete Campbell knows.
Right, and uses it as blackmail.
And uses Pete blackmail Campbell. And then tries to blackmail him to Bert. And Bert's like, I don't give a shit. He makes me money. Like, I don't give a fuck what this guy's real story is. But that is a huge part of his origin story. And actually, there are so many theories about Dick Whitman. Like, there was one for a while that he was the shooter at University of Texas.
Yeah.
Because it's a similar last name, Whitman. And then there's also a theory going around for a while that he winds up being D.B. Cooper, the guy who flew out of the plane. Yeah. So it's always interesting because there's always like lore around who is Don Draper really versus Dick Whitman. So he sees that and he just pours himself a drink. Roger comes in and says their night is ruined. And Don says, it won't be. The kids are going to the Palms. We'll go elsewhere. He's like, no, it's even worse. We have to go out to dinner with Freddie Rumsen, who used to work for the firm, who got fired because he peed on himself. He pissed his pants right before a pitch.
Because he was a drunk.
And now he's sober, along with this guy, Cal Rutledge from Ponds. And they're joining them for dinner. And Roger's like, fuck, now we can't drink. Roger is just as much of a drunk as Don is.
If not worse.
In a lot of ways. And he's like, if we're going to have a chance, we're going to have to pregame. We're going to have to jump out. It's going to be terrible. And they tell the funny stories about their drinking days. Then everyone winds up crying and it's terrible. And I don't want to do this. So Roger downs his drink, asks Don for another. Don tells Roger, just get rid of them. Don says he needs to work on Samsonite anyway. So he's not going and just hands off his ticket.
And Roger goes, hey, this is nothing we can't solve without a flask. Nothing we can't solve with the flask.
Exactly. But it's not, Don's not going because of dinner with Freddie. He realizes that what this phone call from Stephanie is, and we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
And he just can't handle it. So gives Roger his ticket, says he won't be good company anyway. So Don sits, pulls out his cigarettes, looks at the message again from Stephanie. So we come back from commercial. Joey, Danny, Peggy are in the lounge because they have this creative lounge. And Joey says he wishes he could stab Danny in the neck with a pen like James Bond.
Mm-hmm. And then they start talking about James Bond. And I'm like, okay, now maybe you're onto something with the suitcase.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because Peggy's like, James Bond likes to travel. Like, Peggy is constantly working.
Let me tell you something. This is an environment I would thrive in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is just constantly thinking about work. Even when she's not at work.
I could 100% be in this environment.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so they talk about James Bond. Peggy says, I have to go. And as she walks out, Joan walks in and because her window is right between the creative lounge and yells at them. Joan is always yelling at everybody because Joan has no time for this foolishness.
Joan has a lot of power now since the rebuying of the firm, but they still treat her like a woman, first of all. Yep. And second of all, she's kind of become like the office manager / mom. And she just walks around keeping everybody in line.
Right. Yeah. Right. And Christina Hendricks is one of the most beautiful women
she's
on the
beautiful.
planet.
Yep.
And Joan says she doesn't like looking at a garbage dump from her office. And Joey is just like, well, then you can fucking clean it up. Like, fuck you. And he walks out. Joey always sucked. Peggy goes to the bathroom and Megan comes in. Megan at this point is just the receptionist for the firm. She winds up being Don Draper's secretary at some point. And she asks what she's doing for her birthday. And she says she's going to dinner with Mark at Forum of the 12 Caesars. So I remember when this came, I'm like, what the fuck is Forum of the 12 Caesars?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually looked it up. And the forum is named after the 12 Caesars, a set of 12 biographies of Julius Caesar and the first 11 emperors of the Roman Empire that remains primary source for Roman history. Where is the part that I wanted to say? So it was opened by this guy, Baum. And Baum and Brody were inspired by Rome, etc. There was the Golden Age. Wait, where is it? Because they had other stores that they opened up. Okay, so sponsored there. Opulent and epic, the restaurant was also sported enormous menus with wax seals, silver wine bottle buckets in the shape of centurion helmets.
Oh my God.
It sounded really, really nuts. This guy who opened this also was responsible for the Hawaiian Room, the Rainbow Room, La Fonda del Sol, which I've never heard of, the Four Seasons, and Tavern on the Green.
Oh, wow.
So this guy was a big New York
Tavern on the
restaurant.
Green, let us not forget, where John Lennon had his 40th birthday. Sean had his 5th birthday right before he died.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Thank you for that. So Peggy asks how old.
I just have a weird amount of knowledge of John Lennon in my brain.
I like it when you bring it out.
Okay.
So Megan asks how old Peggy is, and she says she's 26. And Megan says, well, you're doing all right for yourself, aren't you? She's doing very well in her career.
Yeah.
Also things to know about Peggy. She never went to college. She went to secretarial school. She just happened to have sort of a good idea about a campaign. So Don winds up hiring her as a creative person. And just as Megan walks out, Trudy Campbell walks in.
Oh,
now,
Trudy Campbell.
I'm going to have to spoil something here because this is too big not to. A little bit.
A little bit. Just do it a little bit.
Peggy has a brief dalliance with Trudy's husband, Pete Campbell. Trudy never finds out. Trudy and Pete struggled with infertility for a long time. So the fact that Trudy is very pregnant is a big deal. And also just saying Trudy makes me think of Truly and Cody not knowing Truly's name. And it's hard to say. Peggy also had some pregnancy history in her past. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
So Trudy's super pregnant and Peggy asks how she's feeling. She says she's sleeping and visiting the ladies' room. But it's an incredible feeling having this baby kick inside of her. And Peggy's like, well, is that any different than living with Pete? And Trudy goes, you're witty. I always assume so, but it turns out to be kind of true. Peggy is sure at all times Trudy is looking down on her. By the way, at all times Trudy is looking down on Peggy.
Trudy's one of those characters, she's awful, but we love her anyway.
I love Trudy.
Yes.
She is so funny.
She was just kind of raised awful.
Yeah, but
it's okay.
She's a debutante. She comes from money. Yep. And she's married to this simp of a man, Pete Campbell, who sometimes is great and sometimes is a hot mess and
agree.
More a hot mess than not. So Megan comes in and says, Mr. Draper's looking for you. And she and Trudy walk out. Trudy wishes her happy birthday and makes a point of saying 26 is still very young. Subtext, you're not married yet and don't have a baby, but there's still time for you, you old hag. The men are at the elevator. Peggy smiles, walks by. She and Pete give each other a look, and it's uncomfortable. Trudy says, I want a rare steak and I want to watch two men pound each other. Okay. Okay. Also in the bathroom, Trudy said, yes, she's very excited about the fight that night because as a little girl, she watched a lot of boxing because my father loves blood sport.
Yeah, she said, I was raised on boxing, and she's putting on her white gloves.
Yeah.
So perfect.
I know. So Danny, Joey, Stan watch Peggy go into Don's office. They're like, don't do it. Don't do it. Because they know once she's in there, she's in his web and she's never leaving. Peggy tells Don that she's just on her way out. She's got her little hat on, her cute little coat. Mrs. Blankenship asks Don if he wants her to place the call and goes on about the time difference. And Don's like, it's the other way. Mrs. Blankenship has no idea what's going on in any given moment.
Yeah.
Peggy's like, why don't you get Joan to get rid of her? And he says the line, Joan knows exactly what I need. Leaves it at that. So he asks about Samsonite and she says, they'll have something in the morning. He's like, the suspense is killing me. Show me now. She's like, I'm on our way out. He basically demands she stay with him and tell him. So,
and this is the push and pull between them. Don wants her to stay, but he doesn't want to ask her to stay.
Right. Because he doesn't want to be alone.
Right. So he's going to try to force her to stay. And he's going to tug at her duty, her sense of duty and her sense of work. And she's going to give in. This is the push and pull.
This is the push and pull of the two of them. I will argue that Don and Peggy, and we'll talk about the relationship at the end, Don and Peggy are the true love affair of this show.
I would agree with that.
But it's a platonic love affair. And so she goes to her office, gets the illustrations, and she says, I can give you a minute, but, I have to go. So she starts showing them, and one's about a rare element. One's about dropping the suitcase off the Eiffel Tower. And then there's a thing with Samson because he's strong and he has hair. And Don says, I gave you more responsibility and you didn't bring me anything.
Yeah, he's basically like, this is all shit.
This is shit. Because it is all shit.
Yeah.
It's garbage. And he says, we're going to do this right now. And he kind of mocks her. Well, I know you have plans, but you're going to stay. And he goes, are you going to call me from the bar with a better idea? You're staying. We're doing this.
Peggy does not tell him it's her birthday and that she has dinner plans.
No.
She could tell him.
But she doesn't
tell him.
And just as she walks out to put her coat away, she goes, you're just going to change it anyway.
And
he's
like, what?
He yells, excuse me, as she walks out. Peggy grabs the phone book. She's calling now her boyfriend, Mark, at the at the restaurant. She apologizes, saying it'll just be a little while. And he asks how long. She's like, 15 minutes.
And you and I are like, this is not going to take 15
minutes. No. And so he's like, it's going to be 15 minutes. And he's going to the match. So he's not even going to keep me here because she doesn't know he gave away his ticket already. And she clarifies, and Mark says, why didn't they go? Why didn't they go to the fight? And she says, because we're having a romantic dinner for my birthday. And she's like, the only one who can help Don. Let me just do this. The sooner I hang up, the sooner I can be done, the sooner I'll be at dinner. So this is where we learn that her whole family is there. Her mother, she has a very bad relationship.
She has a very complicated relationship with her entire family.
Her sister's ne'er-do-well husband, Jerry, who's just always has back problems and is lying on a couch doing nothing. And her roommate, who Peggy doesn't even like. Yeah. So now all these people and Mark are gathered. And Peggy's mom is like, this restaurant's too expensive for Mark. She's just cutting Mark down as he's sitting right there next to her. Back with Peggy and Don. She's throwing ideas at him. And he hates all of them. Don asks Peggy what she thinks of Cassius Clay. And she says, he's handsome. And Don says he doesn't agree. And she says, you aren't supposed to think so. And she says, I remember my mom talking about Nat King Cole in a way that made my father throw out all of her records. Nat King Cole was hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was real hot. Don says Clay has a big mouth. And he says, you aren't the greatest if you have to tell everybody. Liston's quiet. He just does his business. And Clay's just like a showboat.
Well, Amanda, you are underplaying this. Okay. Don goes, Liston is methodical. And he starts like, jabbing a little bit. Yeah. It was hot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, leaning in.
Everything about him is hot. So Don says, he starts like monkeying on this whole idea of the fight. There are three classes of suitcase: featherweight, middleweight, and heavyweight for whatever class you're in. So she can't figure out how to do it on TV. And he asks if she doesn't like it. And she says, it's great. She's just like, I just want to get the fuck out of this room. So I will say yes to anything you throw at me.
I just want to go
to my dinner. And the phone rings. Peggy gets up to answer. And Don tells her, don't do it. She's like, I'll just say you're not here. Thing to remember, Peggy was Don's secretary. So she's very used to answering the phone for him. It's Roger. He tells her to put Don on the phone or he'll start saying a bunch of words she doesn't like.
God, I love this guy.
Roger is fucking hammered in a phone booth at the bar next door because Freddie and Cal are making him be sober over there.
Yeah. So he has to keep dipping into this bar to maintain, essentially.
Roger's like, get down here. Don asks if he thinks he'd rather be working. And Roger's like, yeah, I think you probably would rather be working, which is true. Don asks where he is. He tells Roger to tell them he's sick. And he's like, well, I kind of am because I'm real fucking drunk. And complains about his date with the sober folks. And Don hangs up and he says, good night, sweetheart. Click. Don and Roger have a very complicated relationship. They have a very love-hate relationship with each other. Mostly the love happens when Roger needs something from Don.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so her phone is ringing. She says, he's like, go get it. It's Mark. It hasn't been 15 minutes. It's been an hour. And she says she's almost finished. He tells her to get down there right away. And she's like, you know what? Just go to my apartment. I'll meet you there. I can't play with this anymore. And he's like, and she goes, go to my apartment. I'll make it worth your while. And so a big thing is that Peggy has having sex before marriage, which enrages her mother. She eventually winds up living with a guy, which really sends her mother over the edge. Yeah. And the guy's a Jew, which Peggy is very Catholic.
Yeah.
There's a great episode early on where there's a new priest in their parish, and it's Colin Hanks, played by Colin Hanks. This. Yeah, it's really great.
Amanda,
there's a lot of great guest stars in this. Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
We saw Mark. We had eyes on Mark.
Yeah.
Would you go to that dinner or would you stay with Don Draper getting
I'd 100% stay with Don Draper. I wouldn't I wouldn't even be dating Mark if I had the ability to just look at Don Draper on a regular basis. I would
be so obnoxious the way I would be orbiting around him, trying to get him to notice me, and he never would. I would be obnoxious. I would need someone to put me down.
Yeah, it would be really bad. Really bad. So he's fighting. He's like, you have to come. The only way you could make this night worse is if you don't come, your whole family's here.
Yeah,
she says she's sorry. Surprise. I'm coming now. And back at dinner, so much for the surprise. Peggy goes back into Don's office. She has her coat and her hat. She says she's leaving if that's okay with him. And now he's back on a different pitch. He's got something else going. And he gets up to pour a drink and asks Peggy if she wants one. And he says, do you have somewhere to be? is there anything in the world that's more important than being in this room with me? Basically.
No, nothing so. Nothing else is important.
She's like, yeah, an hour ago, it's my birthday, and I'm sure I've ruined everything. And he asks why she didn't tell him. And he says, because I thought this would be quick and I could just leave. And he says, now I'm supposed to feel bad, and mocks her about
this is such typical narcissist behavior.
Oh yeah, like, now I'm supposed to feel bad.
I'm going to set up an environment in which you don't feel safe to tell me something, and I'm going to berate you that you should have just told me.
Why
it would have been so simple and easy.
Exactly, we wouldn't have had this problem at all.
This is some Cody bullshit here.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's mocking her for even caring about her birthday because she's in her 20s. And he's like, "Do you even know when my birthday is?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was your secretary." But spoiler alert, she doesn't actually know when his birthday is. She knows when Don Draper's birthday is.
Yes, correct.
Not Dick Whitman's birthday. Because when Don assumes Dick Whitman, or Dick Whitman assumes Don, he assumes everything. His birthday, his social security number. His mortgage. Everything.
Yes. His life.
Yeah. And he yells, except he doesn't. Anna didn't. No, he doesn't with Anna. He never.
No, he doesn't. But they have to get legally divorced for him to marry Betty.
Marry Betty. Yeah.
Yep.
So he sarcastically yells at her to enjoy her evening and makes fun of her. And he says, it's time to get over it. Just go. I'll do this all myself. Yeah, whatever.
Oh.
So she goes to the elevator, sees the lights turn off in the lobby, and just kind of sits there for a second. Goes to the payphone, calls Mark, says she's not coming. It's not happening. Peggy says no one told him to do this. And he says he never has. He said, you said you never had a birthday surprise. I want to give you a birthday surprise. Her mom grabs the phone and says, we're all waiting. Mark's like, it's fine. It's fine. And she says, I don't know how many more nice boys are going to be lining up for you. And she says she's sorry she ruined it and that he had to spend the night with her mother. He asked her how she's mad at him. And she says, because you used my birthday as a way to get in good with people who drive me crazy. Like, I don't like these people. Mark says, I should have just invited Don. You never stand him up.
Yeah.
And he says he's already into this place for $40. So he's going to hang up and enjoy his meal. She's annoyed. And basically they break up.
Yeah.
In the middle of this. And Peggy's,
which good riddance, Mark.
Yeah. Bye, Mark. Mark was always a dork. Peggy's roommate tries to like comfort him and it's bad. And he's like, couples fight. She said, ask Jerry. Oh, so is their sister. Ask Jerry, who's her husband, who's just always sitting there like,
lump on a log.
He's totally a lump on a log.
A David Woolley on a log.
Pretty much. Todd and I had a great conversation last night about David Woolley and why we think he's a perfect match for Christine, even though he's just a lump of clay.
Yeah, it's perfect for her.
It's perfect. So Peggy comes marching back into Don's office, says she thinks she just broke up with Mark, pours herself a drink and says, let's get to work. I'm here. Like, you won. Let's just do this.
You win again, she said.
Exactly. He tells her to go. She could have told him it was her birthday. And she says under her breath, like, there would have been no repercussions for that. They bicker back and forth. Peggy and Don bickering is some of my favorite stuff in the world. And he's like, no, go run to Mark, like in the movies. So he's trying to play like this jilted lover.
Yeah.
Go with your boyfriend. Just abandon me here. And she's like, I don't have to be here. She doesn't have to be here. And he says, you don't have to be here. And she says, yes, I do. Because of a stupid idea from Danny, who you had to hire because you stole his other idea because you were drunk. And Danny doesn't have a good idea. She's just pissed. So now he's pissed and tells her not to get personal because she didn't do her work. And he knows it kills her, but there is no Danny's idea. The ideas belong to the agency. And she says, you mean you.
He is right, though.
He is right. He says, as long as you work here, yeah. And she says, is that a threat? Now she's getting lippy. Becky very rarely truly
stands up to him pretty hard in this episode.
And she's already taken someone up on a threat tonight. Like, don't threaten me with a good time. I will fucking walk out of here. I don't care about you anymore. And so now they fight about the Glow Code ad. And that was the ad that Peggy came up with that won the Clio. And he says, it was a kernel that became a commercial. And she said, the whole ad was my idea. And he says, you gave me a kernel that I turned into a commercial. And she says, he remembers. And she's surprised that he even remembers that she came up with it. And he says, it was a kernel. And she yells that you changed just enough so that it was yours. And he says, there are no credits on commercials. And she starts to cry, which she rarely does in front of
I know. And I think he's disappointed in her.
I think he is too. And
he's like, oh, come on.
Don't be a sissy.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
And she goes, but you got the Clio. And he yells, "It's your job. I give you money. You give me ideas." This is one of the most iconic lines in all of Mad Men. And Peggy says, she's really starting to lose. And she says, "But you never say thank you." And he goes, "That's what the money is for."
Which is, I use that all the time.
Because I think on some part, he doesn't understand why she's upset.
No.
This is a factory. I give you money, you give me a widget.
You are dealing with the raging narcissist here.
And he just doesn't understand. Mm-mm. And he says, "You're young. It is ridiculous to be 2 years into your career and counting your ideas. Everything should be an opportunity for you. And you should thank me every morning for giving you another day."
What did that sound like, Amanda? What did that have a ring of? Blame yourself if I don't love you.
Right. She starts to cry, runs out. He yells at her sorry about your boyfriend. So I don't want to talk a ton about Peggy's backstory because I don't want to ruin everything, but she was his secretary. And we'll talk about why she feels very weird about her position in just a little bit once they go to the bar. But she just feels always lost and alone. Her family doesn't understand her. Don is really the only one who knows her whole story at this point, and she just doesn't know what to do.
Well, she and Don are very similar.
They're very similar. Like they're very driven.
I don't know if you have this down, but at some point she says, I'm sure you do, but at some point she says, "I know what I'm supposed to want, and I don't want it." I think she's struggling with this idea of, I don't want to get married and have children like every other 26-year-old woman.
I want a career. I want this career.
Yes.
And I want to be very successful in this career.
Yep.
So back in Don's office, he begins dictating potential ideas for Samsonite. Tape runs out. He grabs another. He sees a mouse run around the office, puts the new tape in. This is so good. Peggy's glorious. In her office, and Don pounds on the wall. "Peggy, get in here." And so he tells her he has to hear this, tells her to sit down. He presses play, and we hear Roger dictating his book, Sterling's Gold, which he does eventually publish.
Yes.
It's so great. And he's talking about how Bert Cooper hated him, and it is more to do with his romantic prowess. Roger hints at the fact that he banged Mrs. Blankenship at some point, and it was really Roger's youth that he hated because he'd been struck down at the height of his sexual prime because of an unnecessary orchiectomy.
Which is what? I don't know what that is.
Removal of your testicles.
Okay. All right.
Which I remember at the time I looked up.
Okay.
I remember his testicles removed.
Like I kind of got that context, but I wanted to make sure it was right.
Yeah, that's the removing your testicles. I'm guessing there might have been cancer or something, which is why
maybe
he had to do this. And jokes that, Bert had the doctor killed for doing this. And Peggy is just appalled.
Don is laughing hysterical.
Ass off.
And Peggy's just like, "This feels like we're listening to somebody's diary."
I'm mortified by this. And Peggy's like, "Why are you laughing?" And he's like, "Ida's a Hellcat? Cooper lost his balls? Roger's writing a book? Like, what the fuck is happening here?" Oh, by the way, Don is already trashed at this point.
Yeah.
And now Peggy's laughing too, because this is ridiculous. He grabs her a drink. Peggy says she should go. And he's like, "Just stay and visit a while." Because this is what he wanted the whole time. Mm-hmm. He just wanted her to stay. And she's like, "I don't want to. It's personal." And he's like, "We have personal conversations." She's like, "No, we don't. And I think you like it that way. I definitely do."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Suit yourself," he says. Peggy now talks about Mark inviting her mom and how if he invited her family, this means he doesn't even know her and it isn't even her fault. And now she's back to square one and single.
Yeah.
The big thing, she never really loved Mark. She loved what Mark could have been.
Mm-hmm.
But what she really is realizing is nobody knows her except Don. Except Don.
And I would argue she can't love Mark because she loves Don.
She loves Don, exactly. Mm-hmm. And Don says, as Danny would say, "There's no crying over fish in the sea." Because Danny's a terrible ad guy who just steals people's lines all the time. And Peggy sees the mouse, jumps on a chair, and he's like, "Get the suitcase. We'll put the mouse in it, and then we'll throw it off the building." And she thinks it's a rat. And he's like, "No, it's a mouse. I grew up on a farm." Which Peggy knows nothing about Don's childhood.
Well, when he says, "Let's throw it off the building," she goes, "I'm not doing that." He goes, "Why? All your ideas are pretty much this anyway."
Right, exactly. And he says, "There is a way out of this room. We just don't know about it yet." And the phone rings. He just stares at it. Peggy asks if he's okay. And then we realize that it's actually Peggy's phone. She thinks it's Mark and she isn't going to go answer it. Don says, "It's still her birthday. I'll get you dinner. Let's get out of here." So they're over at this like shitty diner. for dinner that's really brightly lit. There's a big like painting of the Acropolis. It's clearly meant to be a Greek diner. Big painting of the Acropolis on the table next to them. And over dinner, he asks, what's the most exciting thing about a suitcase? He's still working. Always working.
Always.
And she's like, it's about going somewhere. And Don's like, I want to go to Greece. I hear they left all the good cooks there. And Peggy says, I'd just like to go on a plane. And Don's like, you've never been on a plane? Like, Peggy grew up very poor, very lower working class in Brooklyn. She came from nothing. And Peggy, Don remembers going to Korea, and they were on the plane over there, and some kid was even more of a yokel than me. So he's hinting at a little bit of his origin story. Freaked out, screaming, the man wasn't meant to fly. Yeah. That's an Amy Archer move over there.
I'd be on a plane screaming that.
And Peggy is drunk, or Don is drunk, and Peggy goes, wait, Cooper has no testicles? Like, she's still stuck back on that. And he takes a drink, and it's like, I don't want water. And he tells the story of his uncle, who always had a packed suitcase and was always said, you have to be ready to go, which is just Don in a nutshell. He's always ready to bounce. Peggy says, she can't tell the difference anymore between a good idea and a bad one. Don says, the good ideas always win, and you just know it when you see it.
Well, and before that, he says, because they're often the same thing, or they're so close. Or
yeah, they're so close.
Like yeah.
And Peggy says she knows what she's supposed to want, but it doesn't feel right or as important as anything in the office.
Yep.
Peggy says she didn't know he was in Korea, and she asks if he shot anyone. And he says, no, but I saw people die, and that's memorable. He saw Don Draper die, so hence he became Don Draper. And Peggy tells the story of her dad dying in front of her at 12 from a heart attack.
Yeah, nobody was home.
She says it's very violent. Ugh. And the TV was on, and that's why I hate sports. So I guess TV, was playing some sports thing, and that's why she doesn't like it anymore. Don says he saw his father die, got kicked by a horse. And Peggy's like, wait, are you serious? He's like, yeah, that's how my dad died. She asks about his mom. He says, I never knew her. Well, Don's mom was a prostitute. A sex worker, a prostitute is how he always referred to her, or a whore. He would refer to her as a whore too at times. And she died in childbirth. Peggy asks, why is there a dog on the Parthenon in the painting? And he's like, that's not a dog. That's a roach. Let's go someplace darker. So now they're at a bar and the fight's on the radio. And Peggy says she hates dating. She's terrible at it. And he says, you'll find someone. You know you're cute as hell. And this answers so many of Peggy's questions.
Yeah.
Because Peggy is always hurt that Don never hits on her.
Right.
He hits on everybody else.
But we know it's a respect thing.
Yes. He loves her, which is why he can't hit on her.
The way that you earn, Don Draper respects you if he doesn't sleep with you.
Which is why he never slept with Joan.
Right.
And why he never slept with Peggy.
Because sex is something different to him.
The one episode, though, that's in the future, this is not a spoiler at all for the show, but there's an episode where Joan and Don go to a bar and it's Christmas. And they are flirting. They're both drunk and they are flirting with each other mercilessly. And it is so hot, but they both know they're never going to act on this.
Yeah.
But they're just flirting with each other. And it is so great.
Hey everyone, stay tuned. Little Miss Recap will be right back after these words.
And Peggy says that men don't really stare at her in the streets. And he's like, would you want that? And she says,
see, that shows right there, what he thinks of her.
Right. Don't you want more than that?
Right. He is stunned that she would want that because she's
worth more than that.
She's in a different realm.
And she's like, yeah, that's not what you were supposed to say. And he asks why she cares what he thinks. So now she goes on to say, people joke all the time that I slept with you to get this job. And they joke about it like it's so funny, like the possibility is impossible. Don explains it isn't because she isn't attractive. He has to keep rules about work. But he does. He does
everybody at work.
He thanks everybody at work except for Joan and Peggy. Yes. And he says he has to. You're an attractive girl. And she says, not as attractive as some of your other secretaries.
Yeah, she calls him right out on this work rule.
Because you fuck other people at work. Because you fucked Allison and that became a mess. Yeah. And she says she doesn't want to give him any morality lessons, and they just exchange a knowing glance because he knows about things that happened in Peggy's past, which we're about to hint to. She says, my mother thinks that you're responsible because you're the only one who visited me in the hospital.
Yeah.
I won't share any more than that because I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
And Don is shocked. And Peggy goes, she hates you.
Peggy's mother hates Peggy. Why wouldn't she hate Don?
Exactly. And Don asks if she knows who it was. And Peggy says, of course she does. And he asks if she thinks about it. And she says she tries not to, but then it comes up out of nowhere. And she goes, playgrounds. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And now the fight is getting everyone's attention because it's now on and people are yelling in the bar, including Don. Everyone in the bar thinks that a fix is in because immediately Muhammad Ali knocks Sonny Liston out. They think this is going to be this like fight that goes 10 rounds and it's never going to end and it's going to be just basically a duel. Knocks him right out. And Peggy's like, what happened? He goes, it's over already. And she asks, who won? And he says, Clay, I just lost $100 in 2 minutes. So they go back to the office. Don says that the elevator's like a rocket. Now he's going to be sick. So Peggy drags him to the bathroom. He pukes his guts out. And Peggy's like, are you okay? And you can see she's like freaked out by being in the men's room. She's like, I don't belong in here. And he's puking, which I don't do well with.
Yeah.
And
he's really puking.
He is really puking. And she's like, do you want water? I have toothbrush and toothpaste in my office. Now she hears someone yelling her name and goes out to find a very drunk duck roaming the halls of Sterling Cooper.
Roaming the halls of the office. How'd you get in here?
I don't know. And now he's in Roger's office, but he thinks it's Don's office. He's in Roger's office. He's pulled his pants down and he's about to shit in Roger's office.
Yeah.
But he thinks it's Don's office. Yeah. Peggy's like, you're disgusting. And he says, I'm not leaving without you. Baby, I need you so bad. Baby. Sound like anybody you know?
Ryan.
Baby.
Mm-hmm.
I watched episode 6.
Oh, I'm doing
prepare
it today.
for our recording. Yeah. And I need you so bad. And she tries to get him out of the building and she wouldn't answer the phone, he says, because that's who kept calling. It wasn't Mark. It was Duck. He says, your roommate said you were still at work. So she's walking Duck out. Don sees him. Peggy's like, go lie down. Peggy's like, I don't have time for both of you right now. I have to get both of you drunkards out of this place somehow. And so Duck's like, oh, so Peggy, I see you're not alone. So now Duck gets real mean. I guess when screwing me didn't get you anything, you had to go back to Draper. And Don's like, what?
And Don has puke on his shirt at this point.
Even puke on his shirt. He's fucking
in rough shape.
He's in real rough shape. And Duck's like, that's right. We were in love. And it turns out she's just another whore. Now Don's pissed. I can talk shittily to and about Peggy. You cannot talk shittily to and about Peggy.
Yes.
I'm going to fix this. So Don takes a swing at Duck and now they're fighting. And Peggy's like, would you two fucking stop
Okay. And
it?
I was saying to Timmy, I'm like, Don Draper's going to lay this man out.
But he's drunker.
But he's so drunk. He can't. Yeah.
He can't. Duck pins Don and he says, I killed 17 men in Okinawa. And Don cries uncle. Duck gets up and says to Don, you still think you're better than me. He does, and he is. Peggy follows Duck, but looks to see Don walking into his office like, poor, pitiful Pearl.
Yeah.
This is a very poor, pitiful Pearl moment. He sits on the couch like the sad lump.
Which is right in the strike zone for Amye Archer.
Oh, yeah. And Peggy Olson.
You're at your lowest. I'm there.
I'm here to help. Peggy comes into his office without her coat and says she got rid of Duck and asks Don if he's okay. And he says yes. And she tries to explain why she was with Duck. And he tells her she doesn't have to explain. And he asks her to get another drink. And this is where this episode just all comes together so beautifully. Peggy says, how long are you going to go on like this? And Don says, I have to make a phone call and I know it's going to be bad. And she's like, oh, okay. Now she kind of understands why he has just gone off the rails tonight.
Yeah.
And why he didn't want her to leave. She puts it all together really quick. Asks if he wants to be alone. He's like, I just want a drink. So he kind of like half like lists on the couch because he can barely sit up at this point. She brings him the drink, but he doesn't even take it. He just kind of curls up in a ball with his head in her lap and passes out. And, he's
and
like,
she's doing the, I'm not moving. I'm not
right,
moving.
I'm not moving because the hottest man on the planet's head is in my lap. I'm not moving. That's not really what it was, but that's what it would have been for me. And as he's passing out, he says, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. He's asleep. She has the drink and she just winds up drinking it herself because she's like, now I'm trapped. I'm really trapped now because he's asleep on me. Fair bit later, Peggy's asleep. Don sort of wakes up a little bit He sees the apparition of Anna Draper come in a yellow dress with her own suitcase. She smiles and walks out. He falls back to sleep. Now it's morning. We don't know how early in the morning is, but it's very early because Don's office is a quarter office. It's all windows. So this whole room is just lit up with light. And he wakes up, sees that the sun is up. Peggy is still asleep, like drooling on herself, basically. He gets up, gets the message from Stephanie, stares at the phone. The phone rings in a house. It's a woman in a robe. She answers it. And he says, "It's me." And she says, "She's gone." He says, "I know." And she says, she wanted you to know. And he apologizes for not calling earlier. And he asks if she wanted to talk. And Stephanie says, no, she really wasn't there at the end. Don says he's coming out. He'll make the arrangements. Stephanie says, no need. She's donating her body. She wanted to go to UCLA Medical School tuition free. Anna is such a great character.
I know. I love her.
And Anna was in Big Love. She was one of those twins that was married to one of the real squirrely guys, one of the bad guys on the compound.
Okay.
So the same actress was in that as well. And he's like, "I'll come out and take care of the house." Stephanie says, "I'd like to stay a bit if that's okay from you. Take some time off from school." He's like, and she says, "She's in a better place." He goes, "That's what they say." And he's like, "You can stay in the house as long as you need to. Don't worry about it." Nothing about Don's life is ever dictated by money because he doesn't need it. He doesn't actually care about money.
Right.
He only cares about what money can get him to do.
Yes.
He doesn't actually care that he has
that.
a lot of money. And Don, so Stephanie says, "It's been a long day and it's late. I need to go." He hangs up and looks as distraught as you will ever see Don in the whole series. Mm-hmm. He hangs up the phone, looks up, and Peggy's awake now and is just staring at him. And he bursts into tears.
Which is
stunning.
Yeah. You don't get Don Draper breaking down crying in his office ever.
Ever. And Peggy is just like,
what do I do? What do I do?
So she gets up, walks over. He grabs a handkerchief from his pocket. She asks what happened. And he says, "Someone very important to me died." And she asks who. And he breaks down crying. He says, "The only person in the world who really knew me." And she rubs his back a little bit. And she says, "That's not true." And she says, "It isn't. I know you." She knows him because she is him without the raging alcoholism.
Yes. Yep.
And he tells her to go home. She can come in late. He'll be fine. And she says she's so sorry. And he gets it together. He's like, "Good night."
Yeah.
I broke for 1 second and I'm back.
Armor's back up. Bink, bink.
And at the elevator, Peggy's yawning and she's like, "I can't leave." She still can't leave him. She's not going to go back in the office, but she can't leave him.
Right.
And so she goes back into her office and just curls up on her own couch and goes to sleep. And just as she's trying to go to sleep, all the lights in the office turn on because I guess it's like 8 o'clock or something. She falls asleep. She wakes up to a whistle being blown in her face.
These boys.
These boys are assholes. Stan telling her to drop and give him 20. She's like, "You're such an asshole." It's one nice thing about it. Doesn't happen often, but they do curse in Mad Men because it was on AMC. So they could actually curse. He says it's 10:30. Joey asks if you spent the night. Danny asks if she saw the fight. Joey says, "We don't know who won yet." And Danny's like, "Clay did. Read the paper," which becomes real important in a second. Peggy walks into Don's office, knocks, and he tells her to come in. And he is looking fresh as a flower. He is all cleaned up. He always had like an extra shirt and tie in his desk because things always happen. There were many nights Don didn't necessarily go home.
No, people like lived at this office.
Yes.
Many times.
Yes. And Don in particular didn't go home because he was either banging someone else or he was too drunk to go home.
Right.
And she asks if he went home and he says he spruced up, tells her to come over. And we have the front page of the paper with Muhammad Ali on top of Liston. And then we have this image, this like sketch of a new thing. And it's the Samsonite ad. And she says, "Well, you'd have to know the photo to get the ad." And he goes, "This is historic." And it is. And she asks, "How do we know that the tourister got knocked out?" And I'm not really sure how to put it into a commercial. Like she's going to step 2, step 3, step 4. She knows it's a good idea, but can't figure out what to do next. And he's like, "Why are you shitting all over this?" And she's like, "I'm just tired, but it's good. It's really good." And she means it.
Yeah.
And he gets close to their hands and he takes her hand and just holds it and squeezes it.
And I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God."
It's fucking hot. This is so sexy.
Woof! Just slid off my chair.
Right off my chair. Little trail right off the chair. Bink! And they look at each other. She nods, smiles. And then he just taps her hand twice and stops holding it. And he says, take it to Stan, who's the illustrator. Go home, shower, come back, and give me 10 taglines. She opens the door and asks, do you want it open or closed? And he says, open. Mm-hmm. And we fade out with Simon and Garfunkel's Bleecker Street. Mm-hmm. One of the most beautiful hours of television ever. Actually, it's only 42 minutes.
I loved every minute of it.
I love every minute of this episode. So let's talk their relationship.
Okay, first let me talk about something I want to talk about with Matthew Weiner.
Okay, go ahead.
This is what he does so beautifully. He did it in the Waldorf. He did it in this episode. Mm-hmm. He always has these parallel storylines going, but it's like a metaphor, so you don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston was the old guy, quote unquote. So he was 34 at the time. He was saying he was 32, but a lot of people thought he was 34. And Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali's like 22. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fast, and it's so symbolic of what Don is fighting, right? Like Don is this old guard, right? And here's Peggy and these young kids who like have Peggy certainly has as much talent as him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing holding Peggy back at this point is that she's a woman.
Correct.
But it's just this beautiful like dance between old and new throughout the whole episode. And in the Waldorf, he does it with, Roger's dictating his memoir and he remembers meeting Don.
Right.
And then Don is doing the same thing with his nephew or Jane's nephew.
Yeah.
It's just
There's
so beautiful.
So many parallels all the time.
Yes.
And Don and Roger's relationship is really fascinating. We could have a 4-hour conversation just about their relationship.
It's just the writing is like flawless. It's beautiful.
It is. And if folks aren't familiar, Matthew Weiner, showrunner and the creator of Mad Men, which is the thing for
he
which
also wrote The Sopranos, right?
He was the executive producer for The Sopranos as well.
Which is another one of my favorite shows.
And then he tried to do the show The Romanovs, but it only got one season.
Didn't do well.
I didn't do well, which is a shame. It only got one season. So Peggy and Don.
I said to Timmy last night, we had a little talk about this. I am going to have a different take, and I believe she is romantically in love with him.
Okay.
I believe she is in love with him, always has been, always will be, hates herself for it, tries to knock it out of her because she knows, like, Peggy is somebody who operates from her mind, not her heart.
Correct.
So she knows Don is not a good place for her.
No.
But if Don like cleaned up his act, she would be right there with him.
She would be right there with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could see it. I think it vacillates for her. I don't think it's entirely romantic love. I think there's the mentor mentee piece of it, which is huge. Mm-hmm. I think that the two of them have a knowing of each other that no one else gets.
There is no other woman on this cast or in his life that meets him, gives him
intellectually meets him.
Thank you. Intellectual challenge that he needs to be interested. It's hard to keep Don Draper interested.
Correct. Which is why he jumps from woman to woman to woman all the time.
Yep.
And like you said, if he respects you, he's not going to try to sleep with you, which is why he doesn't with Peggy.
And I think a lot of that has to do with his mother. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of fucked up views of sex.
He's got a lot of fucked up views of sex. So his mother dies in childbirth. Mm-hmm. His father marries another woman. His father dies. That stepmother goes and marries somebody else, this guy, Uncle Mac, who I always had the sense that Uncle Mac was up to real no good, but we never knew it in particular. Yeah. But they owned a brothel. Yeah. So Don was raised in a brothel. Yep. Don had sex for the first time with a sex worker.
Yep.
Don has no sense of family. Mm-hmm. And you can actually see it all the time, too, with being a father. He doesn't know how to be a father.
Yeah,
I agree. But he does much better with Sally than he did with Bobby. Well, first of all, there were 29 actors who played Bobby. Every other week, it was a different Bobby. But Sharon Kipka, who was Sally,
she was
stayed
great
the entire time.
Yeah,
she was
great.
Really great. Mm-hmm. And you could see him trying to be a good father for Sally, but he didn't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. And he knew he wanted to respect her, but she was also a girl. Mm-hmm. And I think in a lot of ways, he would parallel Sally and Peggy.
Yes, I agree.
I think he was the father to Sally. The father to Peggy that he wanted to be to Sally a lot of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because
he didn't know how to do it.
And I think for Don, like it's very black and white with him. with women. There's no nuance. He doesn't think that that's why he said to Peggy that line, like, is that something you want? Like men looking at you on the street? Because for him, it's like the Madonna and the whore.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's an absolute Madonna whore person.
Yeah, you can't. There's no. A woman can't be sexual and smart.
Correct. And it's interesting. And it's interesting. You say the Madonna and the whore. In the very first episode of Mad Men, we first don't know that Don is married. We don't know that Don is married till the very end. The first woman we see him with is Midge, who's an artist in the village with whom he's having an affair. And she eventually comes back as a drug addict and like tries to steal money from him, essentially, because she's a heroin addict at that point.
Yeah.
So and she's a brunette and she lives in this dark place and she lives this very bohemian life. And then he comes home to the beatified, beautiful Betty Draper.
Yes.
In their beautiful life. And it's very much a Madonna and whore because he cheated on Betty constantly.
All the time.
And then cheated on his second wife all of the time.
Yep.
All of the time. Yeah. The only person he never cheated on was Peggy.
Yep. Yeah.
The only woman he had an intimate relation and Anna. He didn't cheat on Anna.
Yeah.
But Anna was
fascinating though.
Anna was his mother in a lot of ways.
I could talk about him forever.
You know what would be a great college class, like a psychology and writing class together, like a writing credit class psychology. Don Draper, the psychology of Don Draper.
Yeah,
that'd be a really interesting class.
He's a fantastic character.
He is, and he's really so fucking hot. And here's the thing: I mean, John Hamm is good looking all the time because he's just a objectively
but when he's
man.
Like in comedies and stuff, I'm not as attracted to him.
Not as attracted to him at all. You need to watch The Morning Show because he winds up in the most recent season.
You guys are telling me I need to watch that.
It's good anyway, but he's in the most recent season, sort of an Elon Musky kind of guy. But he's so sexy because he's so crazy and evil.
Okay. All right.
And he winds up banging Jennifer Aniston. Okay. And if you want to talk about an aggressively perfect, good-looking couple,
Jennifer
Aniston and John Hamm, like they are just objectively hot people.
I'm still over here hoping for the reconciliation of Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Still over here wishing for it.
I want better for her than that.
Oh, he's hot.
He was only hot once in A River Runs Through It.
Wow. Hot take from Amanda, guys.
I've said this before. The only time he was hot was A River Runs Through It. For the rest of time, he looks like he smells bad.
Our record stands. We would never compete for a man in a bar.
We really wouldn't.
No.
We wouldn't.
No.
No.
All right, guys. This has been your Mad Men.
This has been Mad Men. This is our joint pick episode.
I am begging you guys to beg us to cover it because I want to do it so badly.
We're gonna find a way to do this.
Yeah.
Even if we do similar to what you want to do with 90210 and do favorite episodes or something.
Yeah.
To do the whole show.
Just
like to do the whole show. The whole show in its entirety is 92 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do that.
Might take a couple years.
Yeah, might take a few years.
Yeah, that's okay. We got
all
time.
right, guys. Again, this is part of Gratitude Week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We are so grateful for you guys. And this is Wednesday. Tomorrow will be Thanksgiving if you're in America. And happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll be talking Family Ties tomorrow.
Yes, we will. Oh, my other love, Michael J. Fox.
Family Ties season 4?
Season 4, episode 1 and 2.
Episode 1 and 2. The Real Thing, I think
the
it's
real
called.
thing.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Amanda, thank you for taking the notes and leading the discussion.
Thank you, Amy, for indulging this whole idea with me.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Little Miss Recap. If you'd like to support the show, the best way you can do that is to join our Twin Flame universe, which is our Patreon, Supercast, and Apple subscription feeds. The links for those are in the show notes. You get ad-free episodes and a ton of bonus content. You can also subscribe to the feed so you don't miss an episode, share the show with a friend, and leave a 5-star review. To contact the show, please email me directly at amy@littlemissrecap.com or join our Facebook group Backdoor Friends. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.